Hello everybody. So, big news coming out of last night is in the cricket front Australian Test selection is that they have dropped in-form incumbent opener Sam Constance, who's been doing absolutely everything right. He, without any shadow of a doubt, won us the match, the fourth test in Melbourne. I had predicted we would lose that test. That's a ground that India always does well at. I just penciled that in for an Indian win. He absolutely dominated Jasprit Bumrah, and as a result of that, he had a platform that the entire top four got 50s. Steve Smith, yes, he got his century. He wouldn't have done that without Constance. Dominated Bumrah. Bumrah was the Test Player of the Year this year, according to ICC. He was the Player of the Series, and it wasn't even close. He had the most dominant bowling series I think I've ever seen. Possible exception of Mitchell Johnson in whichever year that was, in the Ashes. I think that might have been 2014. You know, this was an amazing effort by somebody in his first test to dominate him. He was playing ramp shots. He scored, was it the fourth fastest 50 on debut in Australian history? Or was it the second? Might have been the second fastest. It was just amazing. Then we come into the fifth test. We had no right winning that. Now, okay, Jasprit Bumrah was injured, and that's why we won. Otherwise, India would have almost certainly won. But he did his job there. And there are people going around saying Constance is the best player since Bradman, all this sort of stuff. Meanwhile, Ricky Ponting chimes in on commentary and says, oh, look, he should be converting those 20s into centuries. Yeah, look, fair enough. He should be. You know, because he's playing that well that he shouldn't just give it away. Just because we've won the match. You know, just because he's done enough to win us the match. Just because he's done his job, he shouldn't be throwing it away. And this was a problem that Mark Waugh had. When he was playing, he'd always get to a century and then get out on 101. You've got to have a better concentration. And look, that is a valid criticism. That you've got to play with a bit more fight. You've got to not have those loose shots. And look, I think that criticism, taken from the position of he is a better player than that, is fair enough. I mean, he looked amazing, and he probably should have got a century in that fourth innings when Jasprit Bumrah wasn't bowling, wasn't playing, because he was off injured. He should have converted that. And you know, we won the match anyway, but he should have done a bit better. And look, I agree that temperament was not ideal. I agree that Sam Constance, from looking at him, should have been Australia's best player. But instead, he was just Australia's best opener. And perhaps only third or fourth best player. And look, you've got to say, fair enough, Ricky Ponting has a point there. Now, a lot of people have taken that and claimed in little internet forums that Sam Constance is not Test level. Now, that is a load of nonsense. This guy is absolutely Test level. Now, we don't know. Look, you never know. In a year, he might turn out to be so hopeless that we drop him. We've dropped him now, at the peak of his powers. He's just won us 2 tests that we had no business winning. He's won us a series against India for the first time in 10 years. We had 3 failures in a row, so 4 failures, 4 failed series in a row where they won, and including 2 at home. We won. Yes, I know it was at home, but that was a hard-fought series. He won us that series. Arguably, Nathan McSweeney's selection very nearly cost us the series. And now we're dropping him. And the reason we're dropping him is because, and whoever thought to drop him was looking at statistics and didn't watch the match. I don't know what they were doing when Australia was playing against India the last time, just before the last test, World Test Championship, where Australia was dominated, except for when they played, they had some easy draw pitches where you could just score runs for fun and there was never going to be a result, because India wanted to make sure that they made the final 2. And that's when Travis Head got all the runs. Now, he came in to open, replacing David Warner, who was injured. Yeah, he went in to open. And he did it for 1 innings. Mid-match, changed the batting order. And then, because there was no replacement on the squad, and he'd done all right as an opener there. They gave him 2 more tests. And then he said, I never want to do that again. If Head was going to open, he should have opened when there was a vacancy. When David Warner retired, for example. Because we wanted Cameron Green in the side because we needed an extra bowling option. And so Steve Smith went into open. But Head could have opened instead of Smith. Why didn't he? Well, the answer is simple. He didn't want to. Smith did. Made it easy. So instead of having to force someone to open, and there was a choice of Smith, Head or Labuschagne, or Cameron Green himself, they were able to have the luxury of having someone opt to do it instead of being forced. And then, of course, after Cameron Green got injured, for this Indian series, the selectors wanted to move Smith down the order. Smith still wanted to open, and I'd argue he was successful as an opener. Even if he wasn't 100% successful, he still did his job. But that's when they should have moved Head in. But they didn't. Instead, they played Nathan McSweeney, which was an absolutely disaster. It would have been a lot better had we had Head opening then, and we could have played an actual all-rounder in the middle order. Wouldn't have had to have Mitchell Marsh injure himself. So they stuffed that up. And you know, if you really wanted to now, when you've got Beau Webster in the side, yeah, play Head as an opener after you've dropped McSweeney. Could have played Beau Webster and Mitchell Marsh in the same team, and then could have left Mitchell Marsh out because he was way too injured, and could have picked somebody else. Would have been a lot easier. That's when you pick Head, when there's a vacancy. That's when you make a change. There is no vacancy right now. Why are they dropping Constas? He's not out of form. He's not failing. Yes, he had a few minor temperament issues where shouldn't have been giving his wicket away, but I mean, I've seen a lot of the players that were just gifting their wickets. We saw that in Perth especially, and you know, all of the batsmen did it. No, Travis Head didn't when he was in form in the first 3 tests, but he was pretty much the only one. And you know, saying, oh look, you should be playing better, to, oh, you're dumped, when there's nobody to replace you. But we're going to manufacture this situation where Travis Head opens, and then they're playing Josh Inglis. Now, I'm sorry, Inglis is not a top 6 test batsman. Now, maybe I'm wrong, maybe he'll go in there and get a big double century. Prove me wrong. But I think more likely he'll get like 10 or 15. He'll probably get him in a run of ball, because he's a big hitter. You know, he can bat in the top 6 in a T20 match, maybe even an ODI. But he's not a proper, genuine top 6. And, you know, I know that sometimes some teams, they play a wicketkeeper in there. He's not the one you should be picking. He's not a Kumar Sangakkara. He's not a Andrew Flower. He's not one of these players that is a good batsman but can keep. He's not that level. Maybe I'm wrong again. Maybe he'll do an AB de Villiers and he'll be amazing, but I just doubt it. We had Cooper Connolly. He's the best, most informed batsman in the country. 21 years old, in form, ready for a debut. They've dropped Sam Constant, which they absolutely shouldn't have done, and instead of giving Cooper Connolly a debut like they should have, they've given it to Josh Inglis. So there's 2 stuff-ups, and now I'm hearing that they're thinking of not even playing Todd Murphy. What? It's like, oh, we'll play Matthew Kuhnemann, who's got a hand injury. It's a broken hand, I think. And they're playing Steve Smith, who's also got a hand injury. In fact, even Travis Head has got a hand injury. They've got a choice of 2 fast bowlers, one's injured and one's not. Oh, they're playing the injured one. So we're looking at playing 4 injured players. Different types of injuries, obviously. We've got Head and Stark, who were both injured in Brisbane because they played Josh Hazlewood when they shouldn't have. Both failed in the next 2 tests because of that. And then they're playing. You got 2 people who hurt their hands in the BBL. They're playing, and we're missing people who are not injured, who are in form, who are doing well. Now, who knows? Maybe Scott Boland might not do well in Sri Lanka. He tends to do a lot better in Australia. Fair enough. But he's also not injured. You know? He's not injured. So, mean, even if his role is only to bowl 5 overs, and that's all he does, at least he's not injured. I mean, or you're playing Stark for his batting. Maybe that's what they're planning to do. They'll play Stark as a number 8 batsman who bowls 5 overs. Maybe that's all right. Maybe that's all right. Maybe I can understand that. But yeah, look, there's a lot of mistakes with this. Some whoppers. And I think this is probably worse than the mistake to play Nathan McSweeney in the first test. Or maybe not. But yeah, this is awful. And I just have to think, what will this do to Sam Constas moving forward? He's done everything right. He did everything he was asked to do. He's succeeded in it. He had some minor issue. Well, okay, after he's already won the match, he's gifted his wicket a bit. Yeah, that's not professional. You've got to work on that. You've got to be better than that. But you're dumping him for that? What's it going to do to his head? You can say, okay, I've got to try not to play loose shots. Okay, I've got to stop celebrating when we've won the match. What's he meant to do? That's going to stuff him up. I mean, I know what happened in 2017 when they put Cameron Bancroft in ahead of the in-form incumbent Matthew Renshaw, whose position was not supposed to be in doubt. It stuffed up Cameron Bancroft, led to him tampering with the ball. It also stuffed up Matthew Renshaw. He never recovered. And I fear that might be what happens to Sam Constas. Now, I hope that's not true. I hope he manages to come back. But this is an awful decision. And they need to rethink this. Sure, if they really want to play Travis Head opening, play him next to Constas and move Khawaja into the middle order. You want to give someone a rest, give Khawaja a rest. Now, look, I hope I'm wrong, but I have a very good track record of being right. I'm very rarely wrong with these sorts of things. But let's see, maybe this will be the genius stroke that looks completely wrong, but who knows. Maybe all those people on the internet who say, oh, Ponting said he's no good, therefore he's no good. Maybe they're all right. Same people that said that McSweeney should have been given more than 3 tests, it was not fair. Just because he failed abysmally, it's not fair. You've got to give him longer. Just because he was in the wrong position, not fair, give him longer. They're the same people. The people that don't know what they're talking about. And they're completely wrong. Anyway, that's it from me. Bye-bye now.